If you find that your aim is a little bit wobbly, maybe your movement is not all that fluid, and you're just not hitting your shots here in Modern Warfare 3, well, you've come to the right channel. My name is Hero, and I've gotten a nuke with every single gun in the game. I have over 3,000 nukes over the 10 years plus of Call of Duty that I've played ever since the original Modern Warfare 3. And I just want you guys to be at the optimized performance that you can be with my best settings here today to help you play better, be a beast player here in Call of Duty, or at least have fun on the game, which is the most important. I just want to say thank you guys for being here, and hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Let's rock and roll. So what's up guys? It's here by Nino Quality, and welcome to my new best settings video of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Season 1. In today's video, I just want to give you guys the best controller settings, audio settings, graphics settings, whether you're playing on PC or console, so that you guys can rise to the best of your ability here in Modern Warfare 3. People always ask for my updated settings every update or every seasonal update, so that's what I'm going to do right here. But just know that there might not be too many changes within every video that I make, obviously. So if you guys want to be able to aim better, be able to move a lot more fluidly, and know any little tips and tricks and secrets so that you guys can perform, even better here on Modern Warfare 3, then make sure you guys drop a like in the video, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. And really quickly, comment down your KD in the comment section below, because that way, when we get to like Season 2 or maybe even Season 1 Reloaded, you guys can look back at this video, look at your comment, and see how much these settings might have improved for you, or how much of a better player you have gotten, No KD is a bad KD, in my opinion. You're always learning to improve, just like I am. But that's enough of my yapping. Thank you guys for being here. Let's go ahead and go through these best settings. So starting it off, I do play on controller. Sorry for any of my keyboard and mouse players. We're not going to have anything here for you, at least directly in terms of KBM. And in case you guys are wondering, my button layout preset is Bumper Jumper Tactical Flipped. And what this means is that I basically play with my L2 being able to give me the ability to jump. R3 is going to be giving me the ability to, crouch or dive or slide or whatever. And I use my tactical of X. So I play it very weirdly. And the reason why I play like this is because it actually makes jump shotting and drop shotting a lot easier. Because all I use is a regular PS4 controller, nothing special. So I don't even use paddles. And this basically acts as a paddle for me. And I've been playing this way since Black Ops 3 back in 2015. And 8 years later, I'm still rocking with it because it's legit the best layout. It might take some time for you to get used to. It might take like a couple of weeks or so, but trust me, once you master this layout, you're gonna do a lot better. And anybody that's been using my settings can kind of agree with me. So try it out for yourself. Bumper ping is going to be off, and if you wanted to flip, like how I have Bumper Jumper Tactical flipped, you just go over here to flip L1 and L2, R1 and R2. Obviously, it's a preference. Stick layout preset default, controller vibration off. I just don't feel like it helps, but it's obviously just a placebo thing. You can have it on if you want. Dead zone inputs, I've already kind of made a video on this, in direct. But basically, if you want to see how much stick drift you have, you just gotta make sure you have 0, 0 there on the bottom. And if you don't, then make sure you rise your left stick min and your right stick min to the appropriate amount so that you're left with 0, 0 there and not any sort of random number. It really helps a lot. And when it comes to left trigger and right trigger, this is kind of personal preference as well. I just have mine on 5. But if you want this to give you the most responsive triggers possible, just put them both all the way to 0. For me, I'm a little sensitive and sometimes I throw grenades. So that's why I don't want to really put them all that low. Moving onwards to my sensitivity and aiming section here, we got horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity both being 8 and 8. And, both the advanced settings are at 1.20. And the reason why I have 8 and 8 is because it's not too fast and not too slow. With a lower sensitivity, you're going to be able to aim a lot more better, specifically within longer ranges, but you won't be able to turn on people if somebody surprises you. And if you're on 2020, the opposite is true. You're going to be able to turn on people very easily, but your aim might not be the best. So I always keep it right in the middle, but as always, it's personal preference. If you like 6.6, go for it. If you like 10.10, go for it. Just experiment and see what you like at the end of the day. Sensitivity multipliers here is going to be all 1 there. Vertical aim max is all standard. Tactical stance sensitivity 1, aim response curve type, dynamic, and the curve slope scale, you don't have to mess with that, just keep it at 1. And dynamic's the best one compared to standard and linear, just gives you the most stickiest aim assist, and it's the one pro players rely on since basically Modern for 2019 has been proven time and time again since Modern for 2019 that this is the best aim response curve type. But obviously, use standard or linear if you feel like you have to stick your aim with those. Moving onwards, sensitivity multiplier focus 1, Transition timing instant, custom sensitivity per zoom. I have the low zoom and 2x to 3x at 0.90, so I can be a little bit more accurate while using these zooms because they're a little bit more snappy. But if I'm using any more, heavier zooms, then I keep them at 1.20 because they're just kind of slow at that point, and I want to be able to drag and, go to my opponents as quickly as possible. Target aim assist on, of course, rocking on controller, we got to make those KBM players that hate aim assist users mad. Aim assist type, default. Third person ADS correction type, assist. And when it comes to this default setting, you can use Black Ops as well. There's not really much difference between Black Ops and default, just you don't use precision and focusing because they tend to lose aim assist in certain situations. You always want to have aim assist available. And then when it comes to motion sensor aiming here, we don't really mess with that. It's like gyro aim and stuff. You gotta look up somebody else for that. Automatic sprint is off, as well as automatic move forward. People ask me why don't I have it on, because it kind of just doesn't give me the best control over my character. And I don't want the game kind of deciding for me, to run automatically. So this gives me that full control and be able to combat campers easier. Tactical sprint behavior, double tap, ground and mantle on. You could also keep this off if you feel like you're jumping over objects a little bit too fluidly. It could hurt you on like the rust crates when sometimes you run under like certain like containers or you like grab something randomly. That's why you could maybe have it off, but it's nice to have this on in most situations. Airborne mantle off, ground mantle hang off. When it comes to slide/dive behavior, I have mine on tap to slide, but sometimes you might like slide only or tap to dive, depending on when you're playing Warzone or you just want to slide cancel the whole time. Up to you at the end of the day. Plunging underwater, trigger, parachute auto deploy off to have more control over my auto deploy of the parachute. Door bash on, ledge climb behavior mantle only. All of this I believe is default here. Tactical stance, obviously you can turn it off if you want, or you can obviously choose whatever you want here. I don't really use tactical stance, I just use it in like certain situations for camo challenges or whatever. Interact/reload behavior, if you're playing multiplayer, tap to reload is the best way to go. Prioritize interact is for Warzone, so you can loot stuff faster and be more on the fly. Armor plate behavior, always put this on apply all, specifically for Warzone users or zombies. ADS sticks swap off. Backpack control, I use directional buttons, but you could also use stick if you feel like that could also be very useful for you. Depleted ammo switch on, quick C4 detonation grouped, manual fire behavior press, or you could have it hold if you're using certain burst guns like the DG58 or the 56 now, I guess, or the FR556. And then everything else here is pretty much personal preference. So let's move on now to our PC graphics settings. So when it comes to my PC graphics settings, if you're wondering what I'm rocking, I've got a 3080 Ti, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and you guys can see with the rest of my specs on the screen. I've got a 144 hertz curved AOC 1440p monitor, as you guys can see there. I'm maximizing that to the max. Obviously, some of you guys might be on 1080p or lower frames or higher frames. NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, got that off, just because it's the best one, typically for most PCs. You can obviously experiment and put off or on plus boost, but most PCs are going to do well with just on. Eco Mode preset efficiency, or you can have it at low consumption or custom. It doesn't really matter in my opinion. And then all of this is personal preference, I believe. So yeah, no focus mode. Moving on to our quality settings, we got render resolution at 90. If you're on 1080p, make sure you're at 100. Because I am on 1440p, I already have like more than enough resolution to see my opponents. So I just lowered it to 90 so I can have a little bit more frames, specifically in Warzone. In multiplayer, I'm easily hitting like 150 frames or whatever the case is. But if you need some extra frames, lower it if you want. Maybe to 95 or 90 if you're at 1080p, but nothing lower. I could probably even go down to 80 if I really wanted to. Upscaling/sharpening, we got Fidelity FX Cast is the best one. And the FX Cast Strength, put that at 90 so your game looks a little bit nicer. You can locate your opponents easier. Path rate or tracing plus rate construction off. Reround scale target, make sure this is on 80. Variable rate shading off. NVIDIA DLSS frame generation, I heard mixed reviews between this. If you're on a 4000 series, NVIDIA GPU, I heard it was low-key causing shadow bans or whatever. I don't know. There's somebody else that has more knowledge with that, but don't trust me when it comes to that. I just have it off because I don't have a freaking 4000 series GPU. But texture resolution low, texture filter anisotropic normal, depth of field off, detail quality level low, and this is pretty much all to help frames basically. If I really wanted more frames, I could do very low or low, but I just have it a little bit higher so it looks nice for you guys and it looks great. Particle resolution normal, bullet impacts on, persistent effects on, shader quality low, on demand texture streaming off, local texture streaming quality low, shadow quality very low, SSR or SSS off, ambient occlusion off, screen space reflections off, static reflection quality low. Tessellation should be off, volumetric quality low, physics quality off, weather grid volumes low, and water quality wave wetness. And now we're on our few And now we're going to be on field of view, which I like at 120 because it allows me to see as much of the screen as possible and be more aware of my surroundings. And I also like ADS field of view to be independent. And the reason why I choose independent over affected is because it allows me to hone in on the thing that I'm focusing on. Because if you're ADSing, you're trying to focus in on something. So that object is going to appear a lot bigger because I'm on independent FOV, which means the FOV won't be 120 when I ADS, it'll be 80 whenever I ADS, and thus things are going to be easier for me to see and locate and shoot my targets at. A lot of YouTubers, they'll tell you to use affected. I'm just more of a personal benefactor of independent for the reasons I just stated, but obviously choose whatever you're comfortable with. It's all personal preference at the end of the day. Weapon field of view is going to be wide so that the gun is as small as possible and you can see more of our screen. Third person field of view, 90. Vehicle field of view, wide for the same reasons that we just kind of stated for the first persons. World motion blur, weapon motion blur should both be off. You know, if you're moving around and you just see blurriness, that's going to throw you off because you might not even see somebody that's just blurred out with the environment. So 100% do not have motion blur in any sort of sense on. It's just going to hurt you more than help you. Film grain 0 for pretty much similar reasons. First person and third person camera movement, have this on 50%, not 75 or 100, because the higher it is, the more camera recoil we kind of get, and we don't care about, you know, shakiness or whatever like that. We want to be as stable as possible. Third person ADS transition, all of this I believe is personal preference, including the inverted flashbang. Do you want to be blinded by the light or blinded by the darkness? And now that we talked about my PC graphics settings, let's go ahead and over to console and show you guys my console graphics settings so you guys know what to use. And now here we are on my console graphics settings, in case you're wondering, on my PS5. So on demand texture streaming, we're going to have that off. World motion blur, weapon motion blur, you should have that off. I kind of already explained that within the PC graphics setting of the video. Film grains off, depth of field off, fidelity FX cast on, you know, to just kind of make the colors a little bit better on your console, and I recommend having it around 90 more or less. Sustainability, I just have eco mode preset off. Obviously you can choose whatever you want. And if you're on Xbox Series X consoles or you're on PS5, if you can, make sure you have the 120 Hz refresh rate on, because it's going to allow you to kind of compete with the PC players who have higher frames. And this is one of the biggest differences between having the current gen consoles and the last gen consoles. It's legit, having double the frames really does make a huge difference. Field of view FOV, you guys know I love running on my 120 and independent. I've already explained why in the PC graphics settings section of the video. It's a whole long explanation. Weapon field of view wide, so the gun is as small as possible and I can see my screen. First person and third person camera movement is going to be both 50%. You do not want to have them at 100% or 75 because it kind of gives you a little bit more recoil to your camera and a lot more shakiness. You're going to have a little bit more, you know, a little less steady aim, I should say. Inverted flashbang should be off, or it's basically personal preference. Do you want to be blinded by the light or do you want to be blinded by the darkness? And then everything else here is personal preference. So yeah, let's go on to my PC again and show you guys my audio settings. And now here we are back on my PC, and now we're gonna go over audio settings. So audio mix, I like PC speaker, just because ever since I switched to it, it allows me to be a lot more in tune with the audio in this game. If you're on console, I recommend headphones based boost or home theater. Those are typically the best. Even regular headphones is pretty nice. Just kind of personal preference. Try them all out and see what you like, but those are the ones I recommend. And then going to master volume here, I have it at 82. You should try to have it at 100, but if your ears hurt by having it at max, then I definitely don't blame you. You know, lower it down a little bit and protect yourself. Gameplay music volume, we don't care about that. We want to have that as low as possible. So I still want to hear some music, so I have it at 2. Dialogue volume at 34, so I can at least hear some callouts, because, you know, dialogue is pretty important in this game, I feel like. So you still want to have it at some, you know, sort of audible level. Effects volume should be all the way max. This one should be the one overpowering everything else, because you're able to hear footsteps, reloads, armor plating up, windows breaking, little things like that that will help you, give you audio cues in a certain situation, will help you a ton in your gameplay. Voice chat volume 60, cinematic music volume 10, war tracks volume 40. And then moving onwards, we got voice chat. All this is pretty much personal preference at this point. What else do we got? We got subtitles. If you want to keep subtitles on, I definitely recommend it. The only reason I don't have subtitles on in any way is because it's going to make the game look kind of ugly, and because I'm a YouTuber slash streamer slash content creator, I want the game to look really nice for you guys, and I just feel like all the letters and stuff might get in the way. But if I wasn't a content creator, I would probably have it on just so, because I can read callouts before they're audibly heard. And, you know, I feel like most people are like visual learners or whatever the case is, and that's why I recommend subtitles. And then everything else here is kind of personal preference. I just have tinnitus sound on because I don't like the sound of the concussion flash grenades personally. So I just kind of have it muffled out, which is pretty sweet. But now let's move on to our interface settings. And we've already talked about subtitles here. If you want to change the color customization in any way, you definitely can. I don't really mess with it personally. I just kind of leave everything as is. Minimap shape, definitely leave it on square. Square is the best way because it gives you the most surface area. Round is just not the way to go. It's a pretty bad way to go, actually. Minimap rotation on, horizontal compass on, so that even if you're counter UAV'd, you can still use the compass and see where people are shooting from. It's probably the only use of it now, so now that the minimap actually works, which is sweet. When it comes to crosshairs, we're gonna have them on static because we don't want them wobbling anywhere. So you can have them on, but make sure they're on static. Static is way better than just having them on. And then make sure center dot is on and have it on largest because it's gonna give you a little bit better accuracy, at least in my eyes. Even though it's kind of a placebo effect, I just feel like it helps in some sort of way. Hit marker visuals on, damage-based hit markers on, player name's full name, in-game text chat on, and I believe this is all personal preference. Telemetry, we got the first 3 on, FPS counter, server latency, and packet loss. I want to see how many frames I'm averaging, and then obviously how laggy a lobby might be or whatever the case is, or how laggy I am. And then everything else here is definitely personal preference. But there you guys go, my best settings here as of the Season 1 update. Hopefully these settings help you in any way, and keep in mind, these are all suggestions. I play on these, doesn't mean you have to play on every single setting that I do, but some of these settings could be a lot more useful than others, you know, depending on your playstyle, if you're wanting to like learn in a certain way. But yeah, just know that I drop nukes consistently here on the channel. I try to make things entertaining, and sometimes I give tips and tricks like in this video. Thank you guys for being the best audience ever. Hope, you know, check me out on Twitch for some Twitch drop rewards, and just keep being incredible. Let's get that 250K for the year, and have a good Christmas.